7 News with Mark Ferguson. Good evening. A day that began with the Premier declaring a state of emergency has descended into chaos on multiple bushfire fronts. Homes have been destroyed and firefighters injured in the Green Wattle Creek blaze south of Sydney. There, the towns of Buxton, Balmoral and Bargo have been hardest hit, while further north, the Gospers Mountain Fire continues to rage from the Blue Mountains to the Hawkesbury. We have a team of reporters across the fire grounds. First to Chris Reason with the latest on this emergency situation.
Population 2,000, the latest target of these unrelenting fires and their uncompromising march towards Sydney's outer suburbs. Unconfirmed reports of homes lost, up to 20, and one person missing. In Bargo and neighbouring Tamor, the signs were ominous early on. Then the emergency escalated. Strong winds turbocharged the fire front, pushing it towards home. Another 20 lost.
We're here with pots with hands and we're just putting some water and protecting the home, so that's what you do for your mates.
Residents forced to make the choice, stay and defend or leave.
Memory's a whole lot. You can't replace it. But at the end of the day, our lives are more important and the kids' lives are more important.
Whatever happens, happens. A Hume highway at a standstill. As emergency services race from one breakout to the next, crews overrun and overwhelmed.
You got sufficient resources?
We're doing the best we can.
In the air, the smoke so dense, in parts you could barely make out the helicopters.
We've had helicopters putting their buckets, filling them up out of swimming pools. Even short dry grass, the fire still runs across those, then it gets into garden beds, lights those, and then that sparks up more embers.
The front line became the firing line. 3 firefighters were injured, suffering burns. Here, one rushed to a care flight helicopter to be flown out of the fire zone. 2 colleagues already moved to Concord Hospital with burns to their faces and airways. They had to be intubated to help them breathe.
Again, we saw a tremendous response, professionalism, first aid, rendering support, but obviously it takes a toll on everybody because it's a sobering reminder of the dangers that our firefighters confront every day with these operations.
Bargo's dingo sanctuary also had to be evacuated.
Nothing we could do. We got all the volunteers out, and that's all we could do. It just came through so quick.
Is there anything left?
We don't know.
Great fears too for the Tamor coal refinery, pouring in resources to keep it protected. Chris Reason, 7 News.
And Alex Hart is in Buxton for us tonight. Alex, what's the situation there right now?
Mark, it's truly heartbreaking, devastating what's going on out here this afternoon. It's difficult to know how many homes have been lost when the change swept through with that southerly, but we've seen at least 4 or 5 ourselves, and there's likely to be many more around this area that have been destroyed as well. And also plenty still standing incredibly thanks to the efforts of fire crews. Properties that you would think would have no right to be still standing given the amount of destruction around them. We actually spoke to the owner of this property behind me only a short time ago. He was here, he stayed to fight. He thought his house had survived the initial fire front, which it did, but then burning embers got in the roof and he was forced to flee. Nothing to the roof, has it? Yeah, it has. Starting to burn now. Just now, right now. Yeah, you can sort of smoking around the eaves. And you're going to go? Yeah, just got to get a couple of things out of here. Oh, it was just horrendous, mate. Come over the hill there, you couldn't see anything. Just like a freight train. This township of Buxton is just a few k's north of the town of Balmoral, which was the first place to be hit when the firestorm swept through around about midday, coming through incredibly quickly. We're learning tonight that part of the fire may have been the result of backburning operations. The OFS is investigating that, but says regardless of whether it was backburning or whether it was the main Green Wattle Creek fire that came through, in today's conditions, that town was always going to be in trouble. Panic-stricken moments seeking shelter in a ute as a wall of flames bears down. What was that like?
Horrific. Just red glare all around and black. The wind was that horrific, it just blew straight over the top of us.
Firefighters fearing the worst as the town of Balmoral burns.
Operation, we're going to have an accident on Wilson Drive very shortly, over.
This truck was also engulfed with the entire crew inside.
Just really hot. Everybody take precautions. Get back to the truck. Put spray bars on. Put yourself in a safe spot, and just wait till it goes over. We hate this to happen
But in a way, that's what we train for. But when it happens, like, you only hope that everything works, you know?
There was help from above, dumping fire retardant and water. But the damage to many homes was done. At least half a dozen, likely many more, burning to the ground. This man has spent a lifetime collecting cars, now up in smoke. Hundreds of them around his house. Incredibly, it still stands.
I was there, I had my truck with water and I was pumping, but I just had to leave. It's just massive firestorm just come through. It's like a wall of fire. I don't know how they saved the house, I really don't.
It's always a risky strategy to stay and defend your home, but here at least it has proved effective. A number of properties remain still standing where residents stayed right next door. Their neighbours' properties are gone. Another home destroyed and still dangerous.
When it come through, there wasn't much you could do, you know what I mean?
You just want everyone to be safe, everyone to have their houses, like, you know what I mean, at the end of the day, and it's gone.
Around 3 o'clock, the blaze was back. But this time, crews were ready. Surrounded by spot fires, an exhausting battle that's not over yet.
Oh, it's just full on. Doesn't stop, does it? No, it doesn't. Just can't talk now.
Alex Hart, 7 News. Mark, we're still here obviously at this house. You can see it is raging. When we got here about an hour ago, there was nothing. This house was still standing. It looked like it was intact. But then those embers got into the roof. The smoke took hold. You saw that fire crew spent about 35 minutes here trying to fight this fire, but then had no choice but to give up. We have to stand back a fair bit, to be honest. We know there are gas bottles in there at the moment. If you look at the front, this house is actually for sale, which is just another thing to add to the devastation for the owners who actually have returned here. They're up the road watching this happen right now. Just cannot imagine what they are going through too. As you can understand, devastated to talk right now, but watching their house burn to the ground, it is heartbreaking, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely heartbreaking for the crews and certainly heartbreaking for those homeowners. Alex, thank you. Now, Cameron Price is in Bargo tonight, not far away, where the firefight is also certainly far from over. Cam, how significant is the damage where you are?
Mark, significant. This is the terrible reality of what we are seeing across this community of Bargo. Home after home has been lost. This was a two-storey house. It is completely destroyed.